Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Gonna wait for some other people to come up in here tonight. I think a few people are seeing this wrong, uh, based on the facts that are before us on this beautiful a Friday night. Ken Intelligent, what's good? Chicago is in the building. Chi-Town, yes indeed, without a doubt. John, what's up, John? We back. What's good? Everything. Roosevelt B. Everything is good. It's a great day. I want to point out something to you guys that I think a lot of people have been overlooking, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this narrative, and even Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Um, people trying to help him to appear to be one thing when he's actually another. NBA 22 Ross, 23 Ross. I'm sorry, peace. What's happening? I'm gonna wait for a couple other people to come up in here, and we're gonna talk about it. Robert Tuck, the Stoic. Yeah, thank you, John. I appreciate. Hit the like button, hit the share button, because this one right here is gonna be a doozy, and you're gonna see when we talk about this tonight, guys, how someone can your boy DELRAY Richardson, once again, Straight Game TV. When we talk about this one, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Lambert, Tammy Church, thank you, Tammy, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Dream Chaser, DELRAY, Ross McCormick, Jawless Door One, Albert Alpo Martinez, Primetime 7667, Straight Game Bruno 67. I know it's Friday night, whatever city you in, from Boston to LA to DC to Baltimore to New Orleans to Atlanta to Chicago to Miami. Straight Game. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get right into it. So check this out. A couple more people. KB Kev, Magic. No, okay. See, Jawless Door One. When Keefe D's lawyer, and when Keefe D tried to get his well, actually, he tried to get his case dismissed, right? He failed on that based on the fact that Keefe D thought that he had immunity. We know that he didn't have immunity. He had a Proffer agreement. So that wasn't going to work, right? And so when that didn't work, Keefe D's lawyer basically did his homework. And the homework was, if you look at all of the who's been trying to control the narrative for the last 29 some odd years, 29 some odd 30 years, is Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. And because one would try to control the narrative and be so desperate to do so, right? He keeps saying that everybody else is trying to dirty up the case. The reason why Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is saying that is because Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. thinks that he is the reason that the case has been bought in the first place. This is what he truly believes in the back of his mind. And the reason why he believes that is because he had tried to befriend Keefe D at one time prior to basically setting Keefe D up. I can't totally say that Keefe D wasn't responsible for his own actions and talking out, because yes, he was, and we all know that. But what Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has done and how he feels as if by him convincing Keefe D, pointing him, getting him paid from Vlad, getting him paid, from other outlets and doing interviews, he feels as though he was the catalyst that got this ball rolling in an effort to try to solve Tupac's murder, if you will. Number one, that was try to create a diversion from what Kevin Hackey had said about Reggie, and challenging him to do the polygraph test, in which Reggie never volunteered for or showed up for, right? But you got to understand the clout chasing, the lies, the many lies that I've told you and that we've caught Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in. There's too many to really go over, but I'll name three. The number one lie is going in front of the grand jury and talking about the walkie-talkie, right? The reason why that's so important, because in calling a witness to the stand, like Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. testified in the grand jury. So Keefe D's lawyer, when they sat down, they were like, well, Reggie was one time a suspect from the perspective of Frank Alexander and Kevin Hackey. Do not think for 1 second that Keefe D's defense lawyer will not try to subpoena Kevin Hackey, right? What they're trying to create is, they're not trying to convict Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. They're trying to create reasonable doubt. And the fact that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has told so many lies over time, right? So let me give you an example. He said in the grand jury testimony, he talked about how the Nextel radios, and this in particular, because they're going to go by grand jury testimony. They'll say, well, in the grand jury, you testified that the Nextel radios had a walkie-talkie feature. And they're going to ask Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., well, have you ever testified to anything different anywhere on YouTube? Because you got to understand, YouTube videos are going to be a big part of this case. And so as the prosecution is going to try to bring in YouTube videos from the Art of Dialogue, from Vlad, and from all of these other places, right? You best believe that Keefe D's lawyer is going to try to bring in his own, right? To try to create reasonable doubt. And so I say to you, the Frank Alexander lie, for instance, right? When Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Asked Frank Alexander to lie about what happened at the MGM, and saying that Orlando Anderson tried to snatch Tupac's chain, right? There is testimony, affidavit testimony, that Frank gave to the Las Vegas police department, right? Frank had came clean on that and basically said that there was no chain snatching. I made the video about that. But what's important about that is, once again, when Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Asked Frank to do that, and Frank said, that didn't happen, there was no chain snatching. And then Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has come out in recent videos and said, oh, the only reason why I asked him to do that was that I asked Frank to lie was so that Tupac wouldn't go back to prison. We know now, based on the information that's been put forward, that that was a lie. Because there's other testimony where Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was mad that Tupac fired him. But more importantly, when he said, I only did that so that Tupac wouldn't go to get sent back to prison, right? They don't care about why you said it, right? All the defense or the prosecution cares about is if they can catch you in a lie. Because now them painting Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. as this alternative suspect, right? And like I said, for what they're trying to do, because remember, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has not been arrested as of yet. He's not on trial, but Keefe D is. So when the defense calls Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. because he was a grand jury witness against Keefe D in order to try to create reasonable doubt with the jury. You get it? Another one. So now, when Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. basically said that the got him statement, it didn't happen. And this is the reason why the other day I caught on to it. This is the reason why the other day, the Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., he said, you know, it happened in the nightclub, and you know what Michael Moore said. I don't really know what Michael Moore said, right? The reason why he said he didn't know what Michael Moore said, because he knows now what he's saying can and will be used against him in Keefe D's trial. So to pretend like he does not know, right? He's trying to claim this plausible deniability, or he's unaware of the information, when in fact that's not true. The reason that's not true, because I played the video in which he said early on that the Nextel radio couldn't do what he said it could do. He went to the grand jury, finally told the truth after 20 some odd years. The same with the Gotham statement, right? So the Gotham statement, he's saying, oh, you know, it happened in the nightclub, it happened here, right? Once again, you play the Michael Moore actually saying where he said it at, right? So Michael Moore, and then they go back and they play, well, you said that Michael Moore was in the car with you going to the hospital, correct? And they said, well, they'll have him on the stand. They'll say, he would say, you said that Michael Moore was going with you to the car in the hospital, right? And if Reggie lies, once again, he's gonna create reasonable doubt for Keefe D's defense. That's what they're trying to do. So all the lies that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has told is going to lead up to this. The clout chasing, what was the other lie? The grand jury, and also the subpoena lie. Remember? He told Frank Alexander on one end, all I just wanted him to do was come in for the subpoena, but then would make a phone call 5 minutes later and basically say, well, if you duck the subpoena, then everything should be cool, right? Can you understand it? You play that for a jury, that creates reasonable doubt based on what this guy is saying, and saying, well, you know what? This guy may have something to hide. He might be the person who actually did orchestrate this situation, right? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has also said and came out and said numerous times, I never told nobody that they couldn't carry the guns or none of that. I didn't say that. It's not the half-ass saying it and, or I said it because I said it for this, or I said it because I said for that. All Keefe D lawyer has to do is find that one piece of video and where Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has said, well, I never said that, right? Saying that he never said it, and then go take the other video in which he asks Tim Williams, let's say, for instance, right? He asked Tim Williams on the one tape, he asked Tim, he said, so the meeting happened. Tim Williams said, yeah, Reggie was there and they told us not to carry the guns. And Reggie said, well, at Club 662 or carry your guns overall. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that he said it. Once again, creating the reasonable doubt. That's why they did what they did when they went for the motion to basically postpone the case until next year. So guess what? They're formulating a case based on Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s testimony and anybody else testimony that might be half-baked or half-assed. You get it? So when Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is out here on these various channels talking what he's talking, he is in fact the one that is trying to sabotage the case. Whether he knows it or not really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, that's what's happening. You have to understand that. You have to understand that, because once again, that's his main argument. He says, well, Suge Knight, Suge is trying to dirty up and muddy up the case. No, I wouldn't say that at all. Suge the other day said that, um, the person that was the shooter, he saw him, they work for Death Row. Like I said, once again, the thing about Suge's situation is Suge has never been on any kind of record um, testifying for or against Keefe D. So it's not the same. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., on the other hand, has been the person who went in front of the grand jury. His testimony is on record. And all he said that he was trying to do was paint this picture of what it was like, the vibe and the energy was like back then. But he did more than that, right? And so, with that being said, most people don't understand what's happening right now. Like Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is over on Vlad, and he's answering these questions, and like he's some legal expert. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is a convicted felon, a money launderer, a failed drug dealer, failed police officer. And like I tell y'all all the time, he failed Tupac and Suge in Vegas that night. He knows this. And so what Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. tried to do is when he called Keefe D, like I told you, he called Keefe D, and he was the one who's claiming the fame for getting Keefe D on, Vlad and all of these other channels. You understand what I'm saying? So on one end, he wants that clout. He's been chasing the clout for so long, that it doesn't even make sense. So when people finally grasp what's going on, you'll understand that. It's all a clout chase move. It's all a clout chase move. And he wants to be the center of attention so that when and if Keefe D is convicted, he can say, I helped solve the case. But what he really doesn't understand is that the lies that he's told is also leeway to give reasonable doubt for Keefe D to beat the case. Because if the jury thinks, well, you know what, this Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. character, he's really not to be trusted, right? And they can point out those lies. They play the one tape, like I said, once again, him saying to Frank Alexander, all I need you to do, I needed him to do was come to answer the subpoena. And then they play the next tape, say, well, if you don't answer the subpoena today, you should be all right. Two totally contrasting, conflicting statements, right? One, in the public, he's trying to make himself appear to be this upstanding guy. And then behind closed doors, he's asking somebody to break the law. He becomes suspect and untrustworthy at that particular time. Then you go to the Kevin Hackey statement. When Kevin Hackey went on Fox News, right? And Kevin Hackey said, all I want is for Reggie to be arrested. This is one of the guys who was working actually undercover as an FBI agent and for the ATF, right? Reggie basically has tried to exonerate himself by putting up some letter that Kevin Hackey allegedly wrote. We haven't heard from Kevin Hackey from that perspective. But what we have is Kevin Hackey saying that, or alluding to that Reggie was responsible for the murder or involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Once again, all the defense is trying to do is to create reasonable doubt, right? Whether Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is ever charged, anybody ever charges him with any kind of in being association with the murder of Tupac Shakur, Keefe D lawyer doesn't care anything about that. All he cares about is trying to create reasonable doubt. Yes, once again, like you said, failed security services, wannabe street guy, a fake label boss, all of those things can be attributed to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. But what we have to focus on now is what he's been doing, right? That's why he ran over there to the grand jury. He wants to be able to be in front of the case and say, you know what? Everybody knows what he said, but if Keefe D is convicted, he's going to be able to say, I helped solve that case, in which he never helped solve the case. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. actually helped create the environment in which Tupac can be assassinated in. It's that simple. He knows it. So, like I said, if we're looking at Keefe D and we're looking at it from that perspective, that's the role that Reggie played in Tupac's murder, from a realistic, truthful standpoint, not the kind that Keefe D is, throwing out these shiny objects and saying, oh, your number one suspect is X, Y, and Z, even though we still don't know what other things Keefe D has to say. More importantly, the lies that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has told it can be set up and used as an argument to create reasonable doubt. Because as we know, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has lied so many times and continues to lie so many times. So yeah, deflecting also, absolutely. So when we look, check this out. So when you see Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. over on Vlad and he's talking and Vlad is asking questions. Like I said, nothing against Vlad, but once again, because he's doing it for content, and trying to get dialogue on the case. But one thing we have to understand is Reggie doesn't really know anything. He doesn't. He wasn't there. He wasn't there at the MGM Grand, right? But like I said, once again, in trying to put himself in the forefront, right? He's now given the defense ammunition in four different, I would say four different ways to create some kind of reasonable doubt, right? And if Carl Arnold can argue it in front of a jury and say, hey, this guy right here, you pull up articles, you pull up him saying, the video with him saying, fuck Tupac and fuck him, and I hope he went back to jail. All of those videos, this was his, we have to show this because, and this is the thing that Carl Arnold is going to try to do. I guarantee you. Like I said, because that's the only defense right now that Keefe D truly, honestly has that's going to work. I did it because, I wanted money. I did it because money and fame. That's not going to work based on the testimony that Keefe D gave the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. That statement alone is like, I would say 100% the statement that's going to send Keefe D to the penitentiary for the rest of his life. There's other ways to go about this case in regards to Keefe D. There's another way out. Like I said, the Puffy angle that I tried to tell everybody about, and but that depends on the feds. If the feds want to actually charge Puffy and then go to Keefe D, if Keefe D wants to work out a deal, they say, hey, look, we'll give you 10 years time served. You do 8 for and how much he did there, but you got to testify against Diddy, right? They go get Kurt Burrows. Kurt Burrows testifies to what he knew about the $1 million situation. And most people don't understand that two things can be true at the same time, right? Yeah. Diddy could have possibly, allegedly, made the deal with Keefe D for the $1 million. Kurt Burrows, basically somebody who was close to the situation, has basically testified to that, right? And then on the other hand, Keefe D did it based on the fact that his something had happened to his nephew. He felt like his nephew was wrong, and Keefe D felt like he said that they had to retaliate. So those two things can be true at the same time, and it's like knocking out two birds with one stone. You know what I mean? So most people don't understand that. But like I said, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s clout chasing lies that he's told in regards to the Tupac situation is going to be used in court to try to create. And that's the reason why it's not about, from what I'm seeing and understanding, it's not about, they're trying to get Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. locked up. That's not what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? They're trying to say, hey, you know what? We believe we can formulate this other situation with evidence, with video. Like, they're going to use video. They're going to use tape recordings. They're going to use all of these things in court to try to convict Keefe D. They said the Sean Puffy Combs' name was mentioned 77 times. 77 times in the prosecution's initial filing. 77 times. So please don't think that they're not sitting back contemplating whatever kind of move that they can make. If they can try to charge Sean Puffy Combs in the murder of Tupac Shakur, that'll be like, that news right there will be breaking to the internet. And like I say, and if they lay it out eloquently, a lot of times is how things are laid out when the public believes something, if you will. So DM, I wouldn't want to speculate on that, right? Like I said, anything's possible, but what we know for sure is that Suge Knight said that he was paying his security handsomely, and he told his security to have guns. The fact that Reggie told him, listen, he said it on the Art of Dialogue, the fact that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. told the security not to carry guns, once again, after Suge Knight said that, that was something that he required. That was something he paid for. Most people are not really listening. So the fact that Reggie told him not to carry guns and Suge said that he demanded that they carry guns is a conflict in itself, right? So that goes to show that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. unilaterally decided that he was going to do that based on what he wanted to do. Like I said, the Michael Moore thing, pulling Michael Moore off, sending him down to Club 662, lying about the fact that Michael Moore got him and tried to placing it in the club. You got to understand what was done. And Reggie's tried to do it 3 or 4 times. He did it with the fake video using Loose Cannon's. When Loose Cannon house got busted in Vegas, he used the fake video, right? Saying that it was his house getting busted. You understand what I'm saying? That right there also can be used. Listen, I want you to understand. Carl Arnold, KVD's lawyer, on such and such date, you posted a video on your channel saying that your house was being raided in regards to the Tupac Shakur case, correct? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. can't lie. Yeah, correct. Was that true? Why would you lie about something like that that's so serious? Right? Once again, once they paint him as a liar, right? And you say, well, damn, well, maybe he did have something to do with it. Why would he want to do that? We say, well, we only did that for clicks and views. So you did it for money, right? And then they find out other ways to say, okay, oh, so when Suge Knight went to jail, you say you ran death row, correct? Is that true? Right? And then they pull out the statement with Michelle A with the affidavit statement and them asking Suge Knight who ran death row after he was locked up, and under oath Suge Knight said that it was Michelle A. Well, Suge Knight said it was Michelle A. Is he lying? Once again, it's about creating reasonable doubt. Now, what will be allowed in the case, as far as evidence, as far as any of those things, as far as the judge is concerned, is a whole nother thing. But if the judge is going to allow, video evidence from the Art of Dialogue, from Vlad, from all of these other channels, then guess what? Keefe D's lawyer is going to argue that, hey, I need this information in here to basically show that their witnesses that the prosecution relied on to file this case from the beginning, right, are not credible, right? They can also ask Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., have you ever been convicted of a felony? You were a police officer at one time, correct? Have you ever been to jail? For what? Right? So this guy, and once again, that goes to show character about the witnesses. You see what I'm saying? So like I said, once again, most people who are not really paying attention to this is what they're gearing up for. And now listen to me, I guarantee you that Carl Arnold is formulating, they're going through all of these YouTube videos. And they're going to find every inconsistency that there is known to man in regards to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. So when he says that Sugar's trying to muddy up the case, when he says that when I reveal his lies and point out his lies, he said that I'm trying to muddy up the case, right? Once again, not taking responsibility for his actions and what he says and he does. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, this is, and look, we're in what, March 21st, right? Before you know, it's gonna be June, and we're gonna be right back around to February again, 2026, and the trial in Tupac Shakur's murder will be starting, right? So, say prime time, 76. His dad was a police chief, and he's an informant. Well, the fact that Reggie the Wright Jr. was a police officer, right? And Phil Carson, basically on the Dossier podcast, has called Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. out for being a 137 informant, right? You've seen how fast he ran over to the grand jury. He was one of the first people over. They said, "Well, they subpoenaed me." You see that? They asked Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., "Why did you go over to testify in the Keefe case?" They asked him that on ABC News, right? And he was like, "Well, first off, they subpoenaed me," right? As they are going to do to testify in the case of Tupac Shakur's murder. He wants to be involved. He wants to be on the stand. He wants to be on TV. It's all a clout chase for him, right? And so when they call him, right, Carl Arnold is going to be prepared, and he's going to eviscerate Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. with the lies that he's told. It's just as simple as that. He got what took down from Tubi twice. What's that, Machiavelli TV? And one of the biggest, listen to me, y'all, and one of the biggest lies, I want you to understand this lie, and I always go to this because Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. cannot answer this question. When Tupac fired him, he claimed it happened in June. There was a fax, right, that has August 27th, 1996. And they can play the video of Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. telling this story about June at the House of Blues, right? That didn't happen. You said that Tupac told you in June that you were fired. He sent the fax firing you, right? And they give Keefe D's attorney takes the copy of the fax and gives it to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. on the stand, and he said, so this is the fax that everybody we've been referring to, correct? And if he tries to lie, say, "Oh no, it was another fax." Are you in possession of that, right? But this is the fax that we were referring to, and he'll ask him, "Read what date is on there." And he's going to say, "Well, how can you talk about being fired and the fax didn't come until August 27th, 1996? How can you talk about being fired in June by the same fax?" Once again, an inconsistency in Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. story. You get it? So while Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is out here trying to convince you that other people are trying to muddy up the case, are trying to sabotage the case, that he thinks that he's in charge of the investigation, like he's the lead investigator in the murder of Tupac Shakur. If he could tell it to people that didn't know him on Mars, he would be like, "Yeah, I headed that investigation. I headed the investigation." He would totally forget to tell them that he was the person that didn't send the more security like his boss asked him to. That he was the security that pulled the other security guard off him, that his boss told him to leave on Tupac Shakur that night. He would forget to tell everybody all of that. So like I said, once again, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has the lies that he's told is basically is going to be used as a setup to try to create reasonable doubt in Keefe D's case in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Ross McCormick. It's not even about being cunning. Like I said once again, if you can convince somebody, right? If you were, if I seen you standing by a light pole, right, and you can tell me about this light pole, like how many times they came to fix it, what kind of wiring inside and all of that. 9 times out of 10, I'd believe you because you're in close proximity to to that light pole. Like, oh yeah, you could tell a whole story behind the light pole, if you will, right? Because of your proximity to it. That's the same modus operandi that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been using for years. His basic story is, I was there, and he wasn't there for everything. Once again, Suge Knight said Reggie lied. Reggie lied about uh about knowing, basically saying that, at 1 minute, you know he didn't know who shot the people, but his father says, oh, when after it happened, Junior called me and he told me that it was, these guys from the South Side and all of these other names, right? But Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been saying, well, you know what? I didn't really know. And then one time he said, well, you know what? When the young lady asked him, he said, well, how did you know what happened and who was responsible for it soon afterwards? And then he said Suge Knight told him. Once again, these are all inconsistencies that can create reasonable doubt in Keefe D's case. And the person that's doing that is the person who's trying to blame everybody else for it. That's another tactic. Let me point the one finger at this person when three are pointing back at me. This is the thing that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. does. He'll say, you're doing it, you're doing it, you're doing it, and all at the same time he's doing it. And when he does do it, he seems to think that there's not a problem. So this is going to be very interesting, man. Yeah. Well, like I said, when you talk about Machiavelli TV, you say people say, well, he's Machiavelli TV said he's not sure. Well, we're not sure if it's Southside or whatever. That's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to the fact that Keefe D testified that it was him, that it was people associated with him. You understand what I'm saying? And he testified in a interview with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. It's going to be hard to duck that. This is not what I think I know because we're on the internet. This ain't what I think I know because we're talking right now, having a conversation in the chat. It's not that. This is based on factual evidence that a person can present and saying, hey, basically setting the situation up right when the prosecution is pleading their case, setting the situation up right to be able to plead the case like they want to. And it's going to be Keefe D's defense attorney's job to be able to try to create some kind of reasonable doubt involving that. So like I said, Machiavelli TV, it doesn't even matter like whether when you sit down and what's being played in the courtroom and the 12 jurors are sitting there listening and they're like, and then Keefe D's lawyer comes and says, well, after they play that, well, he should have had immunity. Well, he had a proffer agreement. None of those things are going to work. Then there's going to be objections, overruled, sustained. There's going to be all of that conversation that goes on in there. So, like I said, for me, I don't even get into whether who did what, when, or where. The thing that's going to be the most powerful, and the reason why Keefe D case was not dismissed when they filed a motion to dismiss was because Keefe D's argument was what? He had immunity, right? That was his argument. And the judge said, and I guarantee you, they showed the paperwork that was signed, the proffer agreement that was signed. And the judge read that. And the judge was like, you know what? I'm sorry, but you didn't have immunity. This is a proffer agreement. And in the proffer agreement, she probably said, well, it says that as long as you state what you state in this and doesn't go further than here. And also another one thing that Keefe D broke was when Keefe D said, oh, I lied. I did it for money and fame and all of those things. That also null and voided avoided out, should I say, the proffer agreement, because you could not lie to them. That's one of the things specifically stipulated in the proffer deal. If they find out that you're lying about anything that you told them, you know, at that meeting or in the future, the deal is off. So, and okay, who said Dre Ham? Dre Ham. Now, Dre, you got to understand this. A lot of people have said that too. Dre said, if you read Keefe D's paperwork, at it's as if they're telling him what to say instead of him telling them what happened, right? Now, Dre Ham, let me tell you this. That doesn't matter either. And the reason why it doesn't matter is because Keefe D is his own man. Now, let's say for the sake of argument, Dre, that in the proffer agreement that was true, which I don't believe that that's true. You know, how do you're gonna forsake a drug charge, right? And they're gonna say, well, if you cop to this murder, we're gonna give you this, and we're gonna give you right. That's a great argument. But what about when he went in front of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and he told the same story again? And he didn't have a deal, and he didn't have a proffer agreement. You understand what I'm saying? So he didn't have them there then to tell him what to say. He basically reiterated what his story was all along. Okay, that's number two, or better yet, the number one time. Let's go to the Art of Dialogue. Let's go to Vlad. Let's go to his book, right? That's three other times. Once again, the jury is going to be looking at the consistency of how the prosecution presents its case. He didn't say it once. He didn't say it twice. You know, he didn't say it twice. He said it 3 and 4 times. As a matter of fact, he even wrote it in a book. You understand what I'm saying? So that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I said, this is like, and I love the fact that you guys asked that question, because it's a great question. It's a, you know what I mean? It's a great question. Like, you know, but when you go to court, that's not really what happens, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, Shank Rock, you actually right. He told the world what happened. Not only did he tell the world what happened, but he was basically, you know, saying too, like, you know, the breakdancing statement. And we were standing on the corner when the ambulance rolled past. That shit was so funny. Blah blah blah. All of those type of statements right there, they really weigh on a jury. You know what I mean? People, the jury's gonna have their eyes and ears open. You know what I mean? When that's being played in court, you know, because like I said, best believe they're going to play all of it. They're going to play all of it. And like I said, once again, in the prosecution's rebuttal to when Keefe was saying he did it for money and fame, the prosecution put Sean P. Diddy Combs in that answer, right? 77 times. So best believe that Sean P. Diddy Combs Diddy is intricately woven into this case. Yeah, the trial is in Vegas, prime time, 76, 67. Yeah, like I said, that's out there too. They best believe, listen, the trial is gonna be so detailed with the how they present the case. You're gonna be like, damn, like how could he do it? Keefe D even knows it. Keefe D said on ABC the other day, man, I shouldn't have said nothing. I should have kept my mouth shut. Is what he said. He knows now. He was like, I shouldn't have said nothing. Shank Rock, thanks, appreciate it. Well, it doesn't speak to whether Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is innocent or guilty. We don't know that. I've already explained to you the guilt and the culpability that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has in the death of Tupac Shakur, right? You know, it's criminal negligence. It's criminal negligence. And Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. knows that. So, like I said, it's one thing to believe something, right? It's another thing to actually know it. You know, Suge Knight said send 5 more security guards. Reggie didn't send anybody. Did Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. pull Michael Moore off him? Yes. Did Suge Knight? No. No. Did Tupac? No. No. Right? Did Frank Alexander have any kind of uh, communication apparatus? No. You know what I mean? When Suge Knight asked Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. to send 5 more security guards, he didn't send them. He disobeyed a direct order from his boss, right? That's what you call negligence. And because Tupac was hurt under that negligence, that in lies causation and criminal negligence, or like I said, or possibly criminal negligence, if you will. So when you understand that, that's the reason why that's what that is. You know, that's why Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been honing, kissing up to the estate. The estate can actually file that. You know what I mean? Suge Knight couldn't file a negligent. I believe the family can. Suge Knight could have probably filed some kind of a case if he wanted to. That's why Reggie was out here. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was out here saying, "Well, if I was that bad, how come Suge left me in charge of everything?" Once again, he wants the people to believe that Suge Knight left him in charge of everything, when in fact he left Michelle A in charge, and Reggie was like an errand boy. You know what I mean? He was a runner, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Playing your part, trying to get things done, and so on and so forth. So, like I said, once again, people keep adding these people's names, saying they weren't there, they weren't. Like I said, you can speculate until the speculative cows come home. That doesn't mean anything. What they're gonna go by in the court is they're gonna go by statements, videos, and physical evidence. Right? It's going to appear to be a circumstantial case, but it's actually going to be a fact-based case off of statements, right? Timelines and the whole 9 yards. So, and like I said, once again, you know, Foxy Brown and when Keefe D mentioned her being in the car with Von Zip, like all of these things are too many intricately woven details about that night in Vegas for what Keefe D said not to be true. Oh, there is physical evidence. The physical evidence is the fact that he said it on tape. That's a physical tape, right? And that's evidence against himself. Like I said, you're playing in front of a jury. You're not playing in front of, us on YouTube or anything like that. And the judge is going to probably, more than likely lay out the rules in which they can play under. Yeah, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. was stealing. He's a sneak thief. That's what he does. Like I said, that's what he's been doing for a long time. So it's not surprising. Yeah, Suge did say that. Stephanie Thorne. Suge said if you saw one murder, you'll solve the other. I don't know how true that is, but it sounds good. Like I said, once again, Suge said a lot of things, but like I said, more importantly, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. and his lies and those clout chasing lies is actually setting the stage. Once again, he set the stage for Tupac to be assassinated. Now he's setting the stage with his lies for Keefe D to basically have reasonable doubt based on his lawyer's presentation of his case. So, like I said, it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, your boy DELRAY. Thank each and every one of you guys for coming by tonight on the Friday night. I appreciate you. Straight gang.